Hey, what's up guys, it's Clever Techie. In this video I'd like to show you how to code in HTML so we can start creating websites. Now before we begin, let me show you something here. I have created some files that I'm going to be using in the video, like these backgrounds, diagrams, an HTML cheat sheet, and some images that I'm going to be using here in this video. And I've gone ahead and packed up all these files in a zip file. And if you go to clevertechie.com/html-video, you'll enter your email and then the system will automatically send you that file. So if you want all these files, go ahead and do that. Okay, let's get started here. First of all, I'm going to be using Notepad++ to code HTML, and I just created a new file here, and I'm gonna go ahead and save that file as. And when you're doing this with a Notepad or Notepad++ or whatever, make sure you choose all types, and then your page name, I named page1.html. And now we can open that page in whatever browser we want. I'm gonna do Chrome. And so here on the right hand side we're gonna see how the interpreted HTML code looks like. Alright, so what the heck is HTML? Let me show you here real quick. So HTML, all it is a bunch of tags, and this is what tags look like. You got a tag name surrounded by these angle brackets. That's your opening tag. Then you got a closing tag, which is the same thing, and it's going to have exactly the same name as the opening tag, with the exception that it's going to have a / right in front of the tag name. So that's your closing tag. The content, like the text, images, links, and whatever, goes in between the opening and a closing HTML tag. Now, if we combine the whole thing together with an opening, closing tag, and the content in between, we get what is called an HTML element. Alright, let's start coding some HTML here. Let me show you some examples of the tags. Okay, so if I just type some random text here, for example, this is my first website ever. It's going to be about baby animals. At the same time, I'm going to learn how to code HTML. This is very cool! Exclamation mark. Okay, so if I just refresh this page here in Chrome, I'll get exactly the same text, so nothing's going on yet. Okay, so let me give you an example right now. If I use this tag called strong on this first sentence, you can see that this first sentence has been bolded. So what that strong tag did to this sentence is just formatted as bold, and that's what strong tag is supposed to do. Another example is a EM tag, which stands for emphasize, and all it does is makes text italic. So the second sentence here became italic. And if I wanted to, for example, underline the fact that this is my first website, I can do an underline tag with a U, and that will underline the word first. So you can see how you can use these HTML tags to format your text, and you can use other HTML tags within these tags inside of them, so we get like a nested effect. Okay, so this is a basic idea of what the HTML tags are. Now, if you notice here, I put these sentences on 3 different lines, but if we look at the browser, it's all like one sentence, especially if I expand it like this. you can see how the whole thing is on one single line. So in HTML, you gotta use a tag called BR if you want to have the text it stands for the breaking line, and if you want to have your sentence show up on the next line, this is the tag you use. Now if you notice, this tag, it's a unique tag because it's called an empty HTML element, because there's no content that goes inside of this tag, and so it also doesn't have a closing tag, so it's just one opening and closing tag in one, and it self-closes with a / in between, inside the tag. That's why it's also called a self-closing tag. There's only a few of those. Another example is a horizontal rule tag, and all it does, it creates a horizontal line, just like you see here. Another tag that I'm going to cover is the image tag, IMG. And those are the only 3 self-closing tags that I know of, and you're probably not going to run into others, but if you do, you know what they are now. Okay, so those are the self-closing tags. And another exception to the standard HTML opening and closing rule is a comment. And this is a comment. Comments are basically for the coder, for the programmer to understand the code better. So I can say strong tag stands for bold, you know. And this is how we do it. We use the same angle brackets, but it starts with an exclamation mark with 2 dashes, and we close the tag with just 2 dashes without the exclamation mark and the angle bracket. So that's another exception to the rule, and that's pretty much it. Now let's see where we are here. Okay, so another set of tags that you're going to encounter a lot is called the heading tag, called H1. Now H1 is going to be your biggest heading, then there's H2, and as they go up in number, the heading is going to become smaller and smaller. You'll see what I mean here in just a sec. I'm just going to do this up to H4 and say something like, welcome to my hobby pet site. And then I'm just gonna copy this text and put it in between these tags, refresh the page, and as you can see, the biggest heading is the H1, the second is H2, H3, and then H4. So it goes all the way up to H6, and it becomes smaller and smaller as it goes down. So this is a really useful tag for setting up your headings on your website. Now there's also something called nested HTML tags. And these are tags like, for example, an unordered list tag, UL. And let's just put some text inside of it like kitten and elephant and piglet. And if I refresh the page here, as you can see, it created like a tab space here, but it doesn't really do anything by itself. So in order for this to work, we need what is called a list item inside the UL tag. I'm just gonna copy this list item tag to the other ones, and don't forget to close it, and just gonna copy and paste. Now we got 3 list items inside of our unordered list tag, and as you can see, this is created a bulleted list, and this is called an unordered list in HTML. So you can see how it's nested. It's like the UL tag, and then there's LI tags inside of it. Okay, so if I did an OL, that would be an ordered list, and that would change to 1, 2, 3, which is an ordered list. Just a numbered list, that's all it is. Okay, so those are the nested HTML tags. Now, okay, before moving on to more tags, let me show you how a typical HTML page actually looks like. Okay, so here's the structure of every HTML page that you're going to see. First of all, you got your HTML tag, and this is the main tag that defines the HTML document, and all the other tags live inside of it. After that, we got a head tag, And just remember for now that inside the tag is where you put your title tag. And title is going to show up as the title of your web page. Now inside the tag, inside the head tag, we also have stuff like JavaScript, CSS, meta info, and other stuff that you include, like external scripts and CSS, stuff like that. But don't worry about it right now. Just remember about the title goes inside the head. And after the head, we got the body, and this is the visible part of the web page, and most HTML is going to live here, and that's where we're going to be putting all of our HTML. Okay, this is the structure, and I'm just going to update this document here to correct the structure, because right now we don't have the HTML tag. So I'm going to create that. All of that is going to go in between. Then I'm going to create the head tag with a title tag inside of it, just like that. And also the body tag. And all of this HTML is going to be inside this body tag. Okay. And I'm also going to put some kind of a title. Right now, you can see like here's a page1.html, which is not a title at the site. So I'm going to say best baby animals ever. Refresh the page, and now this is showing up as a title just like we want. Okay, that's the structure of HTML and the title tag. Now let's get into the attributes. Okay, so what attributes do, here I got this little picture here to illustrate it a little bit better. Okay, so we got a tag name. Inside the tag name we put an attribute name, followed by the equal sign, and finally we put the value of the attributes inside the double quotes. Okay, let me show you an example so you guys understand what I mean here. So for example, if I wanted to change my site's background color, I can use an attribute called BG color, and I can set it to any color I want, like light blue. Save this file, refresh the page, boom, the color has been set to light blue. So just like in the diagram, we got the attribute name followed by the equal sign, and inside the double quotes we got the value. Now certain attributes will only apply to specific HTML tags, but some attributes will also apply to other tags, like the BG color can apply to other tags, like I'm showing here in my cheat sheet. The BG color can apply to body, table, table cell, and table row, and I'll get into it in a little bit. Okay, so what else? Let's see here. Introduce the font tag. Okay, well, another thing you can do here is, for example, if you wanted to change the color or something of your text, you would use a font tag, and a font tag has a attribute name called color. You can set that to blue, wait, no, red. Set it to red. And if I wanted to just do this whole sentence, close the font tag, and now the second one is going to be red. Okay, so those are attributes. Now instead of using these color names as actual words like light blue, red, we can also do something cool. For example, let me show you something here. Let's go to a website called W3 Schools, and I have my URL. Just gonna paste it here. Now here, if you go to this URL, w3schools.com/colors_picker.asp, and pick a color, any kind of color. For example, I'm just gonna pick this pink color. Well, I'm gonna pick this purple color. Here you're gonna see this value, which starts with a pound symbol. If you copy this value, and as you change the color, obviously the value is going to change. So pick any color you want, copy this value that starts with a pound tag, and you can put this inside this value for color, and that's gonna be exactly your color. So that's how you can use what is called hex values to basically choose any kind of color you want, instead of coming up with color names like light, purple, and some other names which might not be even HTML values. This is like the sure way to do it. Alright, so I just wanted to show you this. That part. Okay. Our body can also have a different attribute called the background, and if we wanted to set our background as a picture instead of a color, we can do this. We can use the background attribute, and then since I have my backgrounds here inside this BG folder, I would have to specify where it's located. So I'm gonna be using clouds.jpg. So for the value, I'm gonna set bg clouds.jpg. So you can see how this works here. My page is inside of this root directory here, but the clouds background lives inside the bg folder. So when I go to it, the clouds.jpg is right there. So that's why we're specifying bg/clouds.jpg, which is the full path to our clouds.jpg background. And now I refresh the page and you can see all these cool clouds. Alright, now I already explained how we can have multiple attributes applied to different kind of tags. Now let me introduce a tag called image, img, and this is how we insert images into our web page. So you start with img, and the attribute is src, which stands for source, equals, and then we self-close this image tag because there's no content that goes inside of it. And for the path, we also specify where this image is located. In this case, I have this image inside of my img folder, and I'm gonna use this cute kitten here, kitten.jpg. So img is /kitten.jpg, and here I refresh the page and I have my kitten showing up here, and I'm gonna insert the br tag so the text goes on the next line. Okay, so that's an image tag. Now while we're still on the paths, let me also introduce a link tag. And the way you create link is by using an A tag, which stands for anchor. And this tag has its own attribute called href, and we can create two types of links. For example, we can link to another website, like I'm gonna link to this URL here. I'm just gonna copy and paste this whole URL here. And if you're gonna be linking to another website, make sure you start with HTTP and then type the full address of whatever URL or website you want to link to. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. Now, inside the A tag, you also want to enter some text, like go to Animal Center to adopt a kitten, and then of course don't forget to close the A tag. And now I have this link showing up here, and if I click on it, it's gonna open this page where you can look at all these pictures of cute little kittens. Alright, so if you noticed, this link also opened in the same tab, and if I wanted to for this link to open in another tab, there's an attribute for that called target. Target equals blank. And if we test the page now and click on the link, you can see how it opened in another tab. So here what I did is basically created another attribute inside the A tag, and you can place with these attributes anywhere inside the tag as long as they're followed by the equal sign and the value. And all HTML tags can have multiple attributes. Like for example, the image tag also has its own attributes, like besides src it has an alt attribute, and for the alt attribute we can say kitten, and for title is another attribute. We can say now. Now what the alt attribute does is, in case the image is not found, like I'm gonna make it so it's not found on purpose here, this is the words is gonna show up here, kitten. And if I go back here and fix that, and then the title is gonna show up when you roll the mouse over the image. So as you can see, it's saying now now. Okay, so those are multiple attributes can be applied to the same HTML tag to achieve all kinds of different results, and all the attributes do is modify the way the HTML tag behaves. So we can set all kinds of different values and change all kinds of different elements of our web page. Now let's move on here, and lastly I'd like to show you guys tables. Okay, and I created a diagram for that as well. Let me show you real quick. Actually, before we do that, let me show you another type of link. It's what I wanted to do first. Okay, so if I wanted to link to another page on my site, I would create the, first of all, let's create another page. File, new, and I'm gonna save file as page2.html. And I'm just gonna copy this whole thing so I don't have to type it again, and pretty much delete everything inside the body tag, and I'm just gonna leave everything else alone here. And here I'm just gonna say something like img src equals img elephant. We're gonna put an elephant picture on this page, and let's see if that works. I'm just gonna go to this page now, page 2. Okay, I got my elephant picture here because I have that picture inside the img folder. And now we're gonna name the title elephant. Refresh the page. Now this page is called elephant. Okay, so from page 1 we can now link to page 2 by simply specifying where page 2 is located, which and page 2 lives inside the same directory, so we can just link to it in this way. Page 2 HTML, visit my friend elephant and close the a tag. So for the href, instead of specifying a full URL like that, I just said page 2 because it's already on our computer. So now if I refresh, first of all, let's create another br tag here so it's more neatly organized. And if I click on it here, it goes right to page 2 where our elephant lives. Pretty cool, right? Okay, those are the links. And finally, I want to show you guys how to create tables. Now, this is what a typical table looks like. Let's open it up here. Okay, so you got a table tag. You got a closing table tag. Inside the table tag, you see two types of tags called TR and a TD. Now the TR stands for table row, and as you can see there's only 2 rows, 1 and 2. So one row is in green color and the other row is in another green color below the first row. Okay, got a little bit confused here. And inside our rows we got a table cells. Now every table row has 2 table cells within it, and these are shown as in orange. And I just created this diagram for you guys so you can understand it better, because it can be a little bit confusing at first because there's a lot of tags that make up the whole table structure. So you got the whole table is blue, table rows are green, and the table cells are going to be in orange. And inside the table cells is where the actual content goes. Now let's create the actual table so you'll see what I mean here. Okay, so I'm just going to create the table cell here below my h4 tag. Let's say table, close table right away. Then I'm gonna put the TR, which is the table row, close it. I'm gonna put another TR, close it, and then within the first table row I'm gonna put 2 table cells and close them as well. So we have exactly what I just showed you in the diagram, and I'm just gonna copy all of these. I don't want to type them again. And also we can use an attribute called border equals black. Oh, actually border equals 1. And now you can see how tiny this table is because I haven't put any content inside of it. So now we're gonna put some content. For example, I'm gonna put animal names inside of these: puppy, leopard, and kitten. So now that I put all these names here, you can see the table. Okay, that's pretty much it for the table. Another cool thing about the table is you can make it bigger or smaller by using cell padding and cell spacing attributes. Cell padding is going to expand the actual space around the text, just like you see here. And cell spacing is going to increase exactly what it says is going to increase, which is the cell space. Cell spacing. As you can see, there's cell spacing between those cells now. Now, finally, I wanted to show you the BG color attribute and how it can be applied to the table. Basically, if we take a look here at our cheat sheet again, we can see how the BG color can be applied to body, table, table cell, and table row. So we can have all these different elements of the table in different color. Okay, so for example, if I set the table BG color to, say, light green, our whole table is going to be light green because we haven't specified what kind of background we want for the row or the cell. Now, if I wanted the first row to be something other than light green, I can say maybe light yellow. Now, as you can see, the whole row became light yellow. I want to just do yellow because it kind of looks white here. Okay, so there you go. Now, if I wanted to apply it to individual cell, I can do the same exact thing and say something like, what other color is there? I'm just gonna go back here, choose light pink, or not light pink, light purple, copy the value and insert it here, and bam, now we have. So basically BG attribute can be applied to all different kinds of different elements within the table. And I think this is it. Just keep playing around with HTML and have fun, and eventually you'll just realize how easy it is, because this is all it is. It's a bunch of tags and attributes with values, and as you play around with it, you're gonna get used to it, and all this code is gonna be really easy to understand. And I'll be putting out another video on CSS where we're gonna get into some really cool stuff and how we're gonna be styling websites and make it look really nice. And please go to clevertechie.com to subscribe to the newsletter, and you'll get updates when I release HTML guides, which are basically gonna be similar guides like this, but in HTML format, but they're gonna have advanced techniques. You guys are also gonna receive new videos, cheat sheets, diagrams, and other updates. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.